This will be one of those ones where it probably won't bang on the page, but you guys will find it more useful because I think we can stagger between what's useful for work and what's useful for like you guys just doing your own shit. Because we talked about doing this fucking months ago, we just never did. So this is like the this journaling activity that I do every 3 months. I revise it, and every year I redo the entire thing. And I've still got copies of every single one that I've ever done for the last like 3 years. So I learned it from Jack Delosa in Sydney, and he calls it the Purpose Playbook. And I've kind of, because I've done so many fucking journaling activities, I've kind of merged it with like a couple other things I found good. So basically what you do is you start with like every single call it like department of your life. So you can have like overall life vision, physical health, emotional health, stuff like that. You can have other ones like spirituality or anything like that. And then underneath each one you have 4 headings. So you have beliefs, and I split that into empowering and disempowering. So like if you look at, I don't know, like health is one that I always usually start with. Like a disempowering belief is like, I don't know, like most of the males in my family have been like overweight or obese, so it's genetic. So like that's a disempowering one. Or an empowering one is like, you've lost like a bunch of weight this year, so you can just keep going. Vision is like what you want in a certain amount of time, and then it'll link to your goals later. And the important thing with vision is to get really specific, because like specificity makes things real. So for example, before we got the office, I had a floor plan and shit drawn out and stuff like that. And I was like, I want to sign in the front, and then that changed. I didn't want to sign in the end. But getting like specific is really important. So like, and your goals will change too. So like 3 years ago, it was all just, I want a matte black McLaren. It's like, now I'm like, what the fuck would you get that? The dumbest piece of shit ever. And then you go into why. So this is, remember when I talk about in sales, you always want like towards and away from motivators and things like that. So what you want is, all right, what the fuck do I want? And then why do I want it? And then towards and away from motivators are good. The away from motivators are really, really good too, because now you have something to run towards. We also have something fucking terrifying to run away from. So it's like, okay, what happens if I don't lose weight? It's like, okay, you're going to be a piece of shit for the next 20 years. You're not going to have any energy. You're probably going to be worse at work. You're going to sleep in. All this stuff happens. And then also, remember we always talk about the first, second, third order consequences. So always when you're writing that, just keep asking why. It's like, and then what happens, and then what happens, and then what happens, and then it gets really fucking dark. So that's good. And then strategy is like, okay, how am I going to do that? And you had to take into consideration your like current situation, and then like where you want to be in X amount of weeks or months or things like that. And again, getting specific here gets really good. So this is all I'm doing next week, but I already kind of started it. But ideally, you want to break things down into like numbers. So like you guys probably learned like the SMART acronym at like uni or something like that. I feel like it's something they'd use at uni. So for example, like right now, I'm 19.8% body fat. I did a scan like 2 weeks ago. I want to be like 13%. And this is a really vain example, but it illustrates my point pretty clearly. I just want to be 13% body fat, because then you can see stomach muscles and be the first goddamn fucking time in my life I'll ever see that. So I'm 19.8% now, which means my like body fat is 15.8 kilos. If I lose 500 grams a week, which is pretty like sustainable, that means in about 12 weeks time, I'll be 9.8 kilos body fat, which makes me 13.32. So just north of 13%. And then you break that down even more. So in 1 kilo of fat, there's 7,700 calories. So if I lose half a kilo a week, that means I need to be in a deficit of 3,850 calories across the week, which means I need a daily average calorie deficit of 550 calories, which I can measure from my Oura Ring, which I forgot to wear this morning. But then also by like scanning those meals and stuff. So I'll just always make sure that I'm in a 550 calorie deficit daily. And then you can put that into your daily habits. So I was like, cool, just do these little things every single day. Because you can do really wild shit as long as you break it down into like achievable bite-sized things. So there's actually stories of like, I can't remember the guy's name, but he ate an entire plane. He just like chunked it down, and then he grinded the metal, and then he basically like peppered it onto his food. And he ended up eating like a whole fucking plane, but he just got it down to little bite-sized chunks. So you can do really wild shit. And the whole reason this whole thing's really, really important is because if you don't like figure out what the fuck do you want to do, you're just going to end up doing what other people want you to do. So it's really important to just like, I don't know, I do this like, I revise it quarterly, I do the whole thing again annually, to just sit down and go, okay, what the fuck do I want? And then figure out, okay, that sounds reasonable. Like, how am I going to do that? Why do I want it? And then obviously you want your SMART goals. So what is it? Specific, measurable, achievable, help me out here, Nick. What's the R? I wrote it down. Hang on. relevant. So it's like relevant to what the fuck you want, and then time bound. So you want like a what's it called? You want like a deadline as well. So it's like I want to be 13% body fat by November 25th, things like that. But yeah, I'd encourage you to do that, because otherwise you'll just wake up and just do whatever you want in a day. The first time I do it, I always handwrite it. There's some weird study I can't recall now about writing things down. Obviously, being kinesthetic, you recall it better and you're more engaged in it. And then I print it out, and I usually keep it in my bag with me. Ideally, you want to like look at it every day. And then another thing you can do as well is you can make, they call it like a vision board, which is just you just print out the shit that you want. So for example, yesterday I spent like 10 minutes looking at guys with abs, because I'm like, fuck, I really want that. So my Google image search history just looks like that now. But yeah, I found that really, really useful. And then yeah, if you just put things down into bite-sized chunks and go through this, and then just revise your goals all the time, because keep copies of them too, because it's really funny how your goals change. Like now all I want to do is have free time and an alpaca farm. Like, I don't fucking care about this matte black McLaren that I wanted 3 years ago. But yeah, I'd encourage you to do that at some point in time, because then at least you can go out and do cool shit that you want to do.